This is a very special program which has been organized to mark the 2020 United Nations Day. And the United Nations Day is an intergovernmental organization that aims to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly relations among nations, achieve international cooperation, and be the center for the harmonizing of all actions of nations. Now, it's the largest, most familiar, most internationally represented, and most powerful governmental and indeed intergovernmental organization in the world. The organization's mission, ladies and gentlemen, is to preserve world peace. And this was complicated in its early decades by the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union and their respective allies. Its missions have consisted primarily of unarmed military observers and likely armed troops with primarily monitoring, reporting, and confidence-building roles. As part of activities which have been lined up to mark 75 years of the existence of the organization, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, the Planning Committee, and the Broadcasting Corporation of Ghana have joined forces to bring you this very special contest. Ladies and gentlemen, the contest has been organized among tertiary institutions in this year country of ours. And at this stage, I think before I even proceed further, I would ask these contestants to introduce themselves and to indicate exactly where they're coming from.
Charles Vice Dorothy, University of Ghana, Livon.
Saguja Kusika Angela, University of Ghana.
Sally Akukupia Opoku, Ghana Institute of Journalism.
Fauziya Jamaldeen, Ghana Institute of Journalism.
Kevin Kwekwaban and
Christabel James, KNUST.
I don't know whether you have any relationship or acquaintance with the What Do You Know process. You're going to be appearing on this program for the first time. I have a responsibility to indicate exactly how the rules operate, in What You Know. Now, you are sitting in pairs. In as much as you sit in pairs, you have the right to collaborate, put your ideas together in putting forward an answer to a question which was prompted by the quizmaster. When I put forward a question, in as much as you're two, you have the right, to think together, but to avoid, the prevalence of confusion and chaos. Only one of your number, as it were, will have, the authority to put forward the answer, to the quizmaster. You understand? But these basically are the rules. You have 3 points when you succeed in answering what we call a major question. So initially, a major question will be put. When you answer the question, you have 3 points. But if you fail in your bid of answering the question, it will be taken away from you and given to the other contestant. So it will be taken to the next contestant and to the next. This time for a bonus point of 1. The contestant who succeeds in answering the bonus question would gain the 1 point, but additionally would gain the power to answer, the next question, which would be a major question for 3 points. You understand? So in that systematic order, this is how we're going to proceed. I must also indicate, that you have only 10 seconds. You don't have all the time in the world, to answer a question put forward by the quizmaster. 10 seconds and no more. Any answer given outside this, duration would be considered, a question, an answer delivered out of bounds and would not attract the quizmaster's sympathy in any way. So basically, these are the rules. Now, if you comprehend these rules, then I will solicit the indulgence of my crew for the commencement of the program. The listen one. Yes, so Charles and Angela, the United Nations, it is an intergovernmental organization tasked to promote international cooperation and to create and maintain international order. A replacement for the ineffective League of Nations, as it were. When was the organization established? full date.
24th October 1945.
24th October 1945. I know this certainly was something, a piece of cake, you know. Now GIG and Saudi. Now listen, you must declare perfectly the numerical strength of the United Nations General Assembly. What is the number of its membership?
193.
193. Now, MUST. You see, there are many organs of the United Nations which work together for the overall, for the achievement of the overall goals and objectives of the organization. Now, you mention one of the main organs, only one. You do so in turns. You understand? So you mention one for 3/4. Yes.
The General Assembly.
The General Assembly is correct. Yes. The rest of the
Security Council.
Security Council is one.
The Trusteeship Council.
The Trusteeship Council is one. But first of all, KNUSD again.
The Economic and Social.
The Economic and Social what? Council. Yes, your turn.
International Court of Justice.
The International Court of Justice. And finally,
The Secretariat.
which secretariat?
The UN
The
Secretariat.
United Nations Secretariat. It could be any secretariat, maybe the secretariat of the Electoral Commission. You understand? So you have to be very careful. The General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, the Trusteeship Council, the International Court of Justice, and the United Nations Secretariat. University of Ghana. Listen, in which year these organs, which we have enumerated, in which year were these main organs established?
(1945).
It was 1945. It was in 1945. Now, for 3 points, is it the rest of them? Listen, there was this United States president who coined the name United States. Who was he?
Franklin Roosevelt.
And he's agreed.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Roosevelt. So there is a distinction, you understand? This particular individual is particularly identified as Franklin D. Roosevelt. And now, GIG. Now, the leader of the United Nations Secretariat is known as the Secretary General. How is the leader of the General Assembly called? How do you call him? The Secretariat of the UN Secretary General. But who is the leader of the General Assembly?
The President of the General Assembly.
It's the President of the General Assembly. The President of the General Assembly. Now, KNUSD. The current, Secretary General of the United Nations, he was elected by general acclamation. I surmise you are cognizant of this fact. Huh? Now, this particular event happened on the 13th of October 2006. But who is the current Secretary General of the United Nations?
Antonio Guterres.
Antonio Guterres! Now, Antonio Guterres. Now, who was he? What position? Before his appointment as United Nations Secretary General, what position did he occupy? What significant political office did he occupy before or prior to his appointment as Secretary General.
He was the president of the Security Council.
I disagree with the fact. The fact is not compatible with correctitude. So, G.I.J., yes. He said he was president of what? Yeah, but yeah, G.I.J. Guterres. Who was he before he became Secretary General? KNUSC? Yes.
Director of the World Health Organization.
You was what? You gave an appointment. I was you appointed him to wait on me. Yes, Calvin. Yes, I disagree. He was Prime Minister of Portugal, former Prime Minister of Portugal. He had served as the Prime Minister of Portugal and had gone on retirement. You understand? And then afterwards, the appointment came for him to assume the topmost office of the United Nations. Now for you, G again. Guterres. Yuji. Guterres. Who did he succeed as Secretary General?
Ban Ki-moon.
Ban who?
Ban Ki-moon.
Oh, be careful about your body. Put Ban Ki-moon. Of course, you're right. Ban Ki-moon. G.I.J. Ban Ki-moon. He succeeded the late Kofi Annan of Ghana. In which period did Kofi Annan serve? For which period?
From 1997 to 2006.
Which month in 97? To which month in 2006? Because this would give an exact period. This is the answer, you understand? Yes, KNUSC.
1st January 1997 to 31st December 2006.
I think it's correct. That is a strict answer the question demands. And so there was nothing I could do about it. January 1997 to December 2006. So KNUSC, if Mr. Ban Ki-moon, he served from January 2007 to December 2006. Huh? As we were instructed, what was his nationality?
South Korean.
He was a South Korean. He was a South Korean. But of course, he still is a South Korean. I mean, his departure from the United Nations does not diminish. Huh? There's no diminution, there's no crumble to that. You know, the nationality which is conferred upon him as an individual. What do you call them? University of Ghana. Now, University of Ghana, listen to this one. You see, there was another African before Kofi Annan. He preceded Kofi Annan. Who was he?
Boutros Ghali.
How many Boutroses do you want to Double Boutros, Boutros Ghali. We may have to end this round here. GIG. Now, who was the first Secretary General of the United Nations General Assembly? I realize this particular person is a bit of a labor of Hercules. You understand? It is not commonplace. It's not the, what do you call, Ban Ki-moon sort of answer. It is not a Ban Ki-moon. It's unfortunate. First, yes, I don't know the better go. First Secretary General of the General Assembly of the United Nations.
Trigvi Halfdan Lee.
How do you pronounce the name?
Trigvi Halfdan Lee.
I'll allow you. Put your hands together. Trev Lai. You understand? Trev Lai. I know you have the idea. Trev Lai. Huh? He was the first Secretary General of the United Nations General Assembly, ladies and gentlemen. I think that we've been able to tackle with, some success the first round of proceedings here. And this is the time for us, to go and find what the nature of the performances of the contestants have been. End of round one.
Bringing hope to many around the globe.
Your habits determine the outcome of your life. 90% of what you do every day, you do them without thinking. It's a habit. Before you blame a witch, before you blame your husband, before you blame your wife, before you blame somebody else for your problems, look at the 90% of your habits.
Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabi on Sundays at 6:30 p.m. on GTV. Living Word, inspiring you to be.
Penipa, Wobia Hucha, no Wadopa. Obia, me by and she Munubi. When you were bushing na bet me a baby. Memne Dana, Petia de Bia, she morbid is the media such as the Bible. When I want you to 4 pounds of common.
Yen she back so, and your babu Kwana is here. Was I to PM my uniform kasa? Opia me back with the phone she monobi. And me what as a phone for.
What buy you what as a phone she more? Bring your Bible in church. And if all of them are when you now bet me you and Uncle Point.
Yes, sir. See, a minute then you may be no 9 no noon, our GTV so.
And you quest, yeah, then you may be no pem who could no Siam pem. Your best show, kind.
The moment you beg God, automatically the presence of God also follow you to keep the secret. So that you go far in life, so that you grow old in life. How to keep what? Your secret. Bible says, as I follow you, suddenly the I go to the yes one. I will say, what's an idea? First one, a good. Second one, a man. Third one, a son easy. And to the Christmas, the anybody. Oh, you know, maybe your family. And as I follow free, is over by the one now. I tell you, where did the time will come? Who told you? Micah said, my enemies do not rejoice over me. When I fall down, I will rise up again. When I fall down, I will rise up again. When I speak in darkness, the Lord God will be my light. Oh yes, my enemies do not rejoice over me. Don't be happy because of me. Don't be glad because of me. Because of my falling. When I fall down, I will rise up again. And rise up again is very powerful than the one who is standing there. Let's do something.
Do you want to have an encounter with God? Are you hungry for God's word and for signs of his transforming power in your life?
Christabel Mensa, representing Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. They are leading with 17 points.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm just trying to Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. They are prominent at this stage of the competition. But we must emphasize the fact that the contestants are all members of the Ghana United Nations Students Association, Youth Association, GUNSA. They've all been drawn from the Ghana United Nations Students and Youth Association. Welcome, GUNSA. GUNSA is here. All the contestants Presidents are Junta members. We must also acknowledge the sponsorship of EPP Books and Huawei. Welcome Huawei and the time for us to proceed, into the second round of the competition. Is round 2, question 1, listen. Now, you see, Ghana became independent on 6th March 1957. But you see, Ghana obviously is a member of the United Nations organization. Why did Ghana join the United Nations organization? Month and year?
In March 1958.
I disagree. Yes. The rest of Ghana.
In March 1960.
Judges.
March 1957.
It was in March 1957. Ghana did not hesitate at all as it were moving into the membership of this grand society. So it entered in March 1957. GIG. I am an agency. I promote peaceful use, the peaceful use of nuclear energy for the benefit of humanity, and I guard against its use for military purposes. Who am I? Agency, I promote peace, the use of peaceful use, the promotion of peaceful use of nuclear energy for the benefit of humanity, and I guard against its use for military purposes. Who am I?
The International Atomic Energy Agency.
It is correct. It is correct. The International Atomic Energy Agency. KNUST. Yes, I can see there's this affinity between both of you as contestants. No, keep it up, it's very interesting. An international organization responsible for improving the safety and the security of shipping, engaged in international trade, and for preventing marine pollution from ships. Who am I?
International Maritime Organization.
It is correct. Yes, you see, the chemistry, promotes intellectual collaboration. You understand? That's good. Keep it up. University of Ghana. I was established at the Bretton Woods Conference in 1944. I facilitate international monetary cooperation. I promote exchange rate stability and orderly exchange arrangements, and assist in the establishment of a multilateral system of payments and the elimination of foreign exchange restrictions. Who am I?
The International Monetary Fund.
It is international. Have you identified in your views whom am I, as it were? Over GIG, listen to me. Now listen, GUNSA is an acronym. There's no controversy about that. And you know it. No, but I don't think you should answer this question. Because I've already declared it, you understand? The meaning of GUNSA, all of you know. It is commonplace water off a duck's back. This one will not be a question to be propounded by the quizmaster. But declare the slogan of GUNSA. What is the slogan of GUNSA?
GUNSA for peace, GUNSA for all.
So,
GUNSA for all for peace.
GUNSA for all
for GUNSA.
All for GUNSA.
GUNSA for all.
And what about peace for GUNSA? So it is all for GUNSA or peace for GUNSA?
All for GUNSA.
I disagree. What is it? No, you're not telling me.
GUNSA for all.
Oh no. KNUST.
should I say?
Gunsa for peace. All for Gunsa. Gunsa for all.
Yeah. Oh, then I think they said it initially, so let's put our hands together for GIC. I think the full slogan was not properly put. It's not simply Gunsa for peace, but Gunsa for all.
Gunsa for peace.
Gunsa for peace.
All for Gunsa.
All for Gunsa.
Gunsa
for all.
Gunsa for all. Now, thank you very much. Now, for 3 points in the University of Ghana. Now, we have indicated, as it were, the slogan of Gunsa. We've identified it. But what is the vision? Okay, USP. What is the vision? I think you must still maintain your arm around your neck.
The vision for Gunsa is to become a strong and viable organization to positively influence the youth in order to develop the country too.
Which is correct, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the doctor ordered. Nothing short of it. Everything. You understand? To build Gunsa into a strong and viable organization to influence youth behavior for positive national development in Ghana. Now, Eugene, the Ghana United Nations Students and Youth Association has executives, national executives. How many people constitute the executive?
Six.
Sorry?
6.
No, I think if you put your arm around your neck, it is not 6. You understand? It is not 6. Yes, G-I-J.
7.
Sorry? 7. Oh, you are 2 females, so you can't do that. Yes, that's all right. Yes, KNUST.
5.
Because you have stopped doing what you were doing. Ladies and gentlemen, 9. Eugene. The Sustainable Development Goals Agenda is a plan for action for people, the planet, and for prosperity. And for posterity. It also seeks to strengthen universal peace in the larger freedom, eradicating poverty in all its forms and dimensions. It's the greatest global challenge. When was the SDG document adopted? Month and year. Month and year.
It was in 2015.
Unless there is a month provided, I cannot indicate whether 2015 is correct or not. GIG. Month and year.
October 2015.
KNUST.
September 2015.
September 2015. You understand? I will not compromise on the sanctity of answers. So when you have an obligation to deliver the month, I would insist that the month appears. If the Sustainable Development Goals was adopted in September 2015, as you have enunciated, when did that officially come into force? Month, year, in fact, full date.
January 2016.
I said full date. Some kind of confusion has descended into your comment. United Nations, yes, United, what do you call it? University of Ghana.
5th January 2016.
5th January
2016.
That one is also agreement with righteousness. GIJ.
October 2015.
Oh la la! January 2016. January 2016. KNUST is brought to you again. Now listen to this one. The SDGs built They build on the success of the MDGs, that's the Millennium Development Goals, and they aim to go further to end all forms of poverty. Now declare the other name for the SDGs. How are they otherwise known?
Agenda 2030.
No, they are not known as Agenda 2030. Declare the other name. How are they otherwise designated? Yes, Yogi.
Global goals.
It is correct. That's very much. I think you wanted to go on. Yes, the global goals, I think it was not complete. I should have waited for you, to land in disaster. Global goals. Simpliciter. Global goals. Now, while the SDGs are not legally binding, governments are expected to take ownership and establish national frameworks for the achievement of all the goals. How many goals does the SDG document contain?
17 goals.
17 goals is correct. 17 goals. Here, the final question here. Implementation and success of the SDGs will rely on countries' own sustainable development policies, their plans and their programs, and will be led by the countries. Now, the third international conference on financing for development provided concrete policies and actions to support the implementation of the new agenda. Name the action agenda from which emerged the third international conference on financing for development. It's put you into a state of bewilderment. Name the action agenda from which emerged the first international conference on financing for development. Even though that's in any case, KNUST.
Agenda 2030.
Yes, Eugene.
Action 2030.
Oh, yes. Exactly. I think that you don't have an inkling about what is at stake. The Addis Ababa Action Agenda. The Addis Ababa Action Agenda and around two.
Do you want to have an encounter with God? Are you hungry for God's word and for signs of his transforming power in your life? If you need a touch from the Almighty, make a date with Positive Hour only on GTV every Tuesday morning. Join the General Overseer of the Positive Gospel Church, Reverend Frank Odoi Sarkodie, and his vibrant congregation every Tuesday at 5:30 a.m. only on GTV. You can also worship with Positive Gospel International Church at all their branches in and outside Ghana at these times. Positive Hour. Get a touch from God only on GTV.
It's in-depth. It is compelling and it's robust. Fair, factual, non-partisan, objective, and opinionated. We bring your thoughts alive and get you interactive by creating the platform and bringing the best in the field and getting you, our viewer, glued to your scene. With our unique styles and insights beyond what is reported. We are the Reporters Roundtable and we stand out.
At the end of the second round, Ghana Institute of Journalism has 19 points. Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has 24 points. University of Ghana, Legon, still leads with 25 points.
Yes, I do not know, but it appears as if, University of Ghana has maintained its lead, right from the inception. Or they rather toppled, KNUST, to assume the preeminent position at this juncture of the whole exercise. Round 3, question 1, KNUST will start this one. Now, we're going to do this particular round with some activity. Listen, at the global level, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and targets of the new agenda will be monitored and reviewed using a set of global indicators. How many targets are there in the SDGs? How many targets?
Six targets.
No, 6 targets. Second chance, second run out.
5.
Yes, your time. UG.
5 targets.
No, your time. GIJ.
7.
Oh, disaster. 169. A whopping 159. Not the miniature, things you're talking about. 169. Seriously. How old was the United Nations at the time it decided on the new Sustainable Development Goals? Seconds running out. How old was the UN when it decided on the new Sustainable Development Goals?
Sorry? 70.
It was 70 years. Applause. It was 70 years. Now the SDG is officially known as transforming our world in a set of 17 goals with 169 targets. But name goal 6. Which one is goal number 6?
Clean water and sanitation.
That's correct. Put your hands together. Clean water and sanitation. Now, what is goal 3? GIJ. Goal 3. And I want every single item to be declared. Goal 3. What is it? Yes. Good morning.
Good health and well-being.
No. I think the bell has gone. What did you say anyway?
Good health and well-being.
You must be careful about time. Put your hands together for this. Good health and well-being. Good health and well-being. Goal number 1. KNUST.
No poverty.
No poverty. Now, by what name would you identify SDG 2?
Zero hunger.
Zero hunger. 3 Now, by 2030, and it's a quotation, by 2030, reduce the global maternal mortality to less than 70 per 100,000 live births. Under which goal will you find this target? Goal number 1. KNUST.
Goal number 12.
Goal number 12. UG.
Goal number 7.
I disagree. Goal number 3. To ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. GIG, you still hold the floor. By 2030, double the global rates of improvement in energy efficiency. Quotation. Within which SDG will you find this target? Goal number
4.
No, I disagree. Second chance anyway. Go. Another goal. Yes. KNUST.
Goal number 7.
Are you sure about this?
Yes.
No, think again.
Yes.
7.
Put your hands together. Indeed, what he said was not, by common conjecture. He actually knew it positively. Goal number 7: ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. For 3 points, it took a university. Now listen, adopt policies, a special fiscal, wage, and social protection policies, and especially, fiscal, wage, and social protection policies, and progressively achieve greater equality is yet another key target within the SDGs. Which goal will you find this target? Goal number 10. 10 is correct. Goal number 10. Reduce inequality within and among all countries. UG. For 3 points, where would you find the target by 2030? Huh? Reduce to less than 3% the transaction cost of migrant remittances and eliminate remittance corridors with cost higher than 5% located within, the SDGs. Where?
Goal number 8.
Goal number what?
8.
No! Go again. Second chance.
9.
By 2030, reduce to less than 3% the transaction cost of migrant remittances and eliminate remittance corridors with cost higher than 5%. Which goal? GIG.
12.
No, you're done. KNUST.
11.
Calamity. It's time. Time. You understand? You all will. UG again. By 2030. Achieve the sustainable management and efficient use of natural resources. Which goal?
Goal number 9.
Goal number 9 is incorrect. It's equally disastrous. GIT.
Goal number 40.
It is not available in the scheme of things. KNUST.
Goal 30.
Danger. Ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Goal number 12. UG. Now substantially reduce waste generation through prevention, reduction, recycling, and reuse by 2030. Identify the SDG. The goal in this SDG.
13.
No.
9.
No. Your time. GIJ.
15.
I disagree. KNUST.
6.
12. Now, yes, I think that this is the realm of disaster. And so we have to be very careful. Yeah? It is a very turbulent area. But listen to this one as we get gradually towards the close of this competition. What is SDG 13 about?
Climate change.
It's about climate change! It's about climate change! But you see, SDG 17, which talks about strengthening the means of implementing and revitalizing the global partnership of sustainable development, has been subdivided into other thematic targets. Now, they include multi-stakeholder partnership. Mention one of the other sub-targets. You do so in turns. You understand? Do you comprehend the question? SDG 17 talks about strengthening the means of implementing and revitalizing the global partnership for sustainable development. But it has been subdivided into other thematic areas. You understand? One of them is multi-stakeholder partnership. Mention one other sub-target. Sorry? GIT. Yes! Formed by Sari and Fauzia. Huh? Nothing was produced out of that collaboration. Yes, now to KNUST. Let's see what the officers here would produce. nothing came out. And finally, University of Ghana.
The ILO, the International Legal.
No, it appears you did not comprehend the question. It appears you did not comprehend the question. We have the finance portion, technology, the capacity building, trade, and finally systematic issues. GIG. What is SDG 4?
Quality education.
It is there.